I'll just roll it, just chop
Oh
it
yeah,
up.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool. Dope. Hell yeah. That's what's up. So what do you think about this battle that's coming up?
Which
The
one?
person.
E40 and Too Short.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool.
It's gonna be cool, huh? I think
Yeah.
it's gonna be. I feel like it's like something good. Like, hey, man, we shining over. Like, you know what I mean? Like it. The light shines out on this side of the coast. So I kind of feel like it could showcase to be like, because they're really, we don't get that much attention out here.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's
Yeah,
like
they're
when,
yeah.
and then when we do, it's like, all right, hell yeah, check us out. We here too.
Yeah, they're neck and neck too, cause they both got the old school ones. They both got new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like neck and neck for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. And I kind of feel like it's a the whole longevity thing. I think it's kind of like I think it's dope. It's
yeah,
gonna
for
it's
sure.
gonna be fun. I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna watch it at. I'm like, well, damn. I usually at the house anyway, so that's probably where it's gonna end
Yeah, that's super cool.
up.
Yeah, that's cool. I was when I was thinking about E40 going up with somebody, I was thinking about Master P. But yeah,
Oh,
two. I was like, oh yeah, Too Short. Yeah, not like oh yeah, Too
yeah.
Short. Like I didn't like forget about Too Short, but
That was the only thing.
yeah,
I think I had said that somewhere where if it would be anything, I think those two would be cool. Like if they did like a I think it would have been cool like if they did like a Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg because they both got the
oh
same
yeah,
amount of music where it would have been kind of cool. And
yeah for
yeah, and
sure.
then I really think they should have did the DMX and Jay Z. They
Oh
should have
yeah,
like, but that's we don't get paid the big bucks.
yeah. It's probably like a lot of probably like, especially in hip hop and stuff. It could be some of those
Hmm.
phone calls could be a little dangerous and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
that's
exactly.
probably
Then I
most of
think
it.
they're overall though. I think that's just dope. They everything like during this whole COVID thing, everyone got extra creative. So
Yeah,
I think it's like the gift and the curse again.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, super cool. I'll just introduce it then. Here we go.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
I honestly messed up because I like lost count in the middle of it. I think this is like number 8 or 9. I don't even know.
So
But this is the Trillionaire meeting. We're here with Delph, Dr. Post a lot.
yo yo.
Great guy, social media dude, expert.
Hell
Just a cool dude. Super,
yeah.
super chilled out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Social media, man. Social media got me whew, it got me to meet like a lot of dope people like as yourself, a lot of dope creative people like and I've been doing it for like about 15 years now. So man, there's a lot of people that's been in the like music industry for like damn near their whole life or whatever, but I kind of feel like my little experience in there it was especially through the social media stuff because I'm not like I didn't go to school to like try to work with artists or work with companies or whatever. It was really on the on the job straight training, but at the same time it I don't know. It was weird. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Well, it happened because of MySpace. I have to credit all like because MySpace was really that opened the door to everything. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was when MySpace was kicking, I was in elementary school, I think. I think I was maybe in
that's crazy.
third or fourth grade. I remember my
Wow.
big brother used to be on MySpace and stuff. I remember that
Mm,
being a big
good
deal.
thing. Yeah, it was. I thought it was dope because of the music, like the way that they had a music player on there, and then you can add music because it was around that whole Napster time. I feel like you know what I mean, and there was just different platforms of music, like dang, you remember I like to bring up Melanie Fiona.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
that singer? So I remember when I first heard of her, it was on the like it was through like a streaming service where like you would hear a lot of new music. I forgot the name of the platform, so mad. But I remember catching her music on there and I was like, wow, this is really good. And then I don't know if it had a counter where like it had how many times it got played or whatever,
Hmm.
but them numbers was going crazy and I was like, wow, who is this? You know what I mean? But it sounds so good. And then And then I started watching a lot of people's music on there, and it was interesting how, like, you were discovering all of this new music, and then on top of it, like, you could share it. You can, if you're like a numbers person, you can see how the numbers, go from like 1 to like 100, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then the fact that MySpace had their music player on there, and then you would really like see some like cats that have music already, or and then they would just upload it on there, and then you could see the plays on there, right? Like, oh damn, you know what I mean? Then it started to become a thing where, like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get so much, because people started getting signed through MySpace, I
Yeah.
believe. People were getting deals, and I was like, oh shoot, you know what I mean? Like, I was on there when I was on MySpace. I'm like, they had a bulletin board. Do you remember those bulletin boards
Not
that they?
really. I didn't really get into MySpace like that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
MySpace used to have these bulletin boards where, like, of course, you get friends, and you communicate with friends or whatever, top 10 list or top friends, whatever. But they used to have these things called the bulletin board, kind of like a forum, so to speak. But it was kind of designed like how Twitter is now. You know how Twitter, like when you follow certain people, and or Instagram, whatever social media platform, it's all the same, right? You follow people and you can look at their updates and all that shit.
Hmm.
So on MySpace, depending on who you were following or who's following you or whatever, you can go on to this bulletin board where you can post whatever, you know what I mean, from movies to music to parties, whatever. And then it would go out to all of the people that was your friends. You know what I'm saying? So like if you had hella friends on there and you posting this your like you had like, let's just say you had like 1,000 friends or 5,000 friends or whatever. Kind
Hmm.
of like on Facebook, right? You have friends, and then you throw these updates, and then it goes out to all of these people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now, so before, I feel like back then, when you post something, you could kind of feel confident that it's gonna actually go to your network. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So you sharing a party or a song or whatever, and then it's like them motherfuckers is gonna see it. But
Yeah.
I feel like somewhere along the line, the engineering or whatever, the people that that program all of that stuff, they kind of like messed with it so that you can, when you post something, it's only gonna go to so much, right? So that's
Yeah.
why everything gets lost in the sauce or whatever. But Twitter, I feel like it's still like that. Like, I mean, there is a little algorithm stuff happening on there, but what makes Twitter so cool is that it's a straight feed. So when you post something, it's really at that second. And then, like, if someone catches your tweet or post or whatever, they'll be like, "Oh, he posted this 2 days ago." You know what I mean? So it might be relevant still, or it might not be. For the most part, like a rule of thumb, what I like to tell people, like, if you post something on Twitter and you're not on there a lot, just make sure that it's relevant. Make sure the links work. Make sure it's some information. Whereas if you're in the physical, you could just be like, yeah, I go to my Twitter page. It might be like the fifth post or something, or I'll just repost it. And once you go to my Twitter page, you'll see it. You feel me?
Hmm.
You don't have to, whether if of course, if it's, you got, like, because I post a lot, so I'll have like 10 posts, so you might, it'll definitely get lost within my own feed, which is why I like to, I do a lot of maintenance. You know what I mean? Even with Instagram, you know what I mean? Because ideally, people will only maybe see like 5 of your posts or 3 of your posts, and it's gonna go one. It's, you know what I mean? It's that whole shortest attention span. Remember,
Yeah.
that whole, like, oh, there's hella shit. You just see shit, and something might catch your eye, and you might be interested for like about 5-10 seconds, and it's you keeping it moving type shit.
Yeah. It's so much
So
stuff out. It's just so much everything out right now. Like,
right,
it's crazy.
and I think that it's okay. It's just it's a little harder though, because you want to like I said, if you're not really into social media like that, just make sure the stuff that you're putting on there is relevant. That's why, like, people that have songs from like 2 years ago, 3 years ago,
Hmm.
I for me, my like 2 cents is like, don't give up on those songs. You know what I'm saying? and a good example is a song that one of the artists is that I do a lot of posting for, Vivian Green. um One of her songs, "Get Right Back to My Baby," um when she dropped that record, it took like about a year or two to to catch, you know what I mean, to for people to recognize it.
Okay.
And I believe that it got leaked to somebody that worked at Sirius Satellite, you know what I mean, that liked it, and then they played it on their show or something. I might be a little off, but once they played it on they played it on their show or whatever, boom. You know what I mean? People like,
Yeah.
what's this? What's this? What's this? And it's like, wow, you know what I mean? Because I was pushing that song, like I was throwing it to DJs, I was throwing it to bloggers, um, like at least 2 years before it took national recognition. You know what I'm saying? But of course, by that time she was already working. You know what I mean? Because artists like you guys be like, you could knock out a song, knock out 5 songs, and keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's kind of like, it's like, it's strategy, picking which songs you like and all that. But the ones that you do pick, it's kind of like, well, these are the ones that is gonna, I mean, these are like my calling cards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what, like, kind of like, okay, if you like that, then you're definitely gonna, these are like old stuff. But when the right, when really when it gets into the right hands, what I'm saying. But now, how they doing that whole like paid advertising and all that.
Yeah.
Now I kind of feel like it's almost like, because there's so much stuff out there. Now it's kind of like, okay, well, how good is your commercial? You feel me? Like, how
Yeah.
good is your video? How good is your sound? Or how many people on your street? Like, what was crazy, I was on, oh, that one singer, El Varner.
Oh yeah, I love El Varner.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So she's been like popping up on her Instagram live, like I caught her like on different occasions,
Uh-huh.
where like I'll catch her. One time I caught her on there and she was just freestyling. Like people were throwing like songs her way, and then she'll be on her guitar and she was singing it, and she was doing it for like a good hour and some change, like straight like improv. You know what I mean? But she was dope. I was just like, oh my God, this is why she's, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And it was only about 100 people in there. So it was like really like, it was like an intimate show that it was just like hell of on the fluke. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And then one time she went on there, um, she was playing other artists. Like people were going on there, and like I don't know, like they were from the south, I want to say, somewhere down in the south, and they had hell of he had a, they had it was a dude, and he was a singer, I believe. And he had like a little mini online street team where they were all on her IG, like, let him sing. And at first I was thinking like, wow, is this like bots? But it was actually people that he must have got on, he must have got like about, either he had a fan base or he had some people's like, man, we gonna be on her and we're gonna try to get you on so you can go live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he went on live and he sounded pretty good. I was like, I think he was in the studio maybe or whatever, but no, I think he was just at the house. It was just hella random, and I was just like, wow, that's pretty freaking, wow, you just opened up to, like, you know what I mean, like these new artists you never heard of, and you just, she opened up her IG to that. I think that was dope.
Yeah. That's
And
super
then the
cool.
and then I just seen her, I think it was yesterday. I was at work, and she had jumped on her live, and she was playing some new stuff that she had recorded, and I was like, wow, like, you know what I mean, like this whole like quarantine is dope because, like I said, like everyone's doing like these Zoom calls, these lives, and it's like there's no like, sometimes, like when you do it like off top, like a freestyle, you know what I'm saying, like sometimes those are the best, versus when you're over there trying to plan it. And kind of like what you were saying earlier, like, man, we were trying to figure this out,
Yeah.
we were just sitting around and shit, it turned out pretty good.
Yeah. It
Like I
turned
feel
out
like,
good. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like those are like sometimes like the best, you get the best results, because like, you know, I've done me I've like helped set up show interviews for people that did blogs and all that, and they was ready. We got the day, you know what I mean? We got there, and then when the day happened, it all went bad.
Yeah, yeah, for
So I don't
sure.
know. Yeah, so I think these live things has been pretty cool. It's like, okay, you know what I mean, people being a little bit more creative and all that. So
Yeah, it's super cool. That raised the question, like what's the? Because it seems like right now it's like a feed the system game. Like it's like
yeah, data,
just just
collecting data.
just like pumping out content and pumping out as many songs as you could. But at what point do you at what point does that start to diminish your value? Because you know, like the less of you out there, the more valuable you are. But if you have to pump the system like that, like
I I kind of feel like that's interesting. I don't know. I guess to me, I kind of feel like it's up to like however you trying to how you trying to market yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like less is more is always, I feel like, the best way, because especially if you have a lot of like, I don't know, like my experience is like working with artists is like, I know like when they come out with a song, it means a lot, right? Like it's like, man, this is my baby. I can't just, you know what I mean? It's like it's a lot of meaning behind it. Um, so like if that's like the case, I kind of feel like, okay, you shouldn't flood everything,
mhm.
because you can take one song and, like I said, like you can take one song and you can cut it up, you can do hella type of stuff with it, where, you know what I mean, like depending on how you want to market it, you know what I'm saying, like you know, you, it might be like in a little movie, you might start having little videos off it, or you know what I mean, or people might pick it up and I mean, you know, they might take it, turn it into a TikTok thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like in these times, like just like how that dude that brought back Fleetwood Mac, a dog face dude with the cranberry juice, like, you know what I mean? It's like getting like some guy, but the thing is like like from my understanding, I don't know all his whole story, but from my understanding, like he's like a vlogger or whatever. He's like someone that just like, you know what I mean, like a online personality, right? Like I'm on here dancing and whatever, but like I said, like, you know what I mean, like there's one thing that it's gonna catch someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like what's that thing where like they said, like, you know, like a batter, you got to swing at every bat,
Yeah.
at every pitch, that you never know what's going to be your home run, so you just got to keep on swinging and shit.
Okay.
It's kind of like that mentality where you just throwing stuff out there, and then, oh shit, so you know what I mean, it one opened the door for me. Now now that the door opened, like what are we going to do? But like as far as like music is kind of a little bit different, because um you know, you like you can just flood the internet with your music, but it's kind of like, why? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I mean, like, unless, I think the only good thing, I think this is my opinion, like if you are creating a buzz, you know what I'm saying, and people want to hear more, of course you got to give them more, like, because if they're like, man, we want another one, and you know what I mean, and that for the artist, I feel like, well, a true artist, or like, or not a true artist, but like an artist that's consistently working, he got he got
It got
he got
joints.
heat. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you
Right.
like that one? Well, blam, 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 blam. You feel me?
Yeah.
So so that you might take like, okay, that's flooding it, but that's because your demand was there. So now,
Right.
like if you're like kind of new and you're not really popping like that, but you got a good sound, I kind of feel like, okay, well then that's cool, that's good, because that's just that's a matter of just growing your audience, and that's where I kind of feel that, okay, if you have a little, this is where, because I was always against boost posts and boost ads and all that, but that's when I'm not, I wouldn't shy from it, because now, you know, when you trying to hire a publicist, or you trying to hire someone to get your stuff out there, it's kind of the same thing, because you do got to, there's at some point you got to pay for a service, right? Because it's marketing now. Now you got to look into these agencies to what's the best what's the best fit for you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's only so much you could do on Twitter and Facebook and what you call it. You know what I mean? Like, unless you hire like a social media person like myself, you know what I mean? Like, who'll be on there. You know what I mean? Like for example, like you got like, let's just say you got like 5 songs, right? Maybe like either whether it's your songs, depending if you're the singer and you got five songs, like an EP, so to speak, and you ready to throw that shit out. Well, what you need to do is, like, if you hire like someone like me, like with a social media person, or even like a publicist or whatever, you have to have those 5 songs. You got to like have some type of, like, write up, you know what I mean, like the whole, you know like a package, right? So that you can give it, so you have that package to give out to, like, different agencies or whatever, or publicists or bloggers or whatever, you know what I mean? You can send that out to people, right? And then you have, and then you all that marketing material, your social media person or yourself can be on these, like, tumblers, or your own, like, um um Trillionaire, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and you just dress it up. You know what I'm saying? And then your social media person, it's up to them and yourself to strategize. Like, okay, we're gonna promote these 5 songs maybe once a week, or maybe we'll grab one song first, and we're gonna flood them. We're gonna flood all of the networks with this one song, and with a couple of videos or photos, or like, little drops. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that old school, like like before the internet, right? What was that old school shit? Like, people had to go, like, you gotta mail people, you gotta fax, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
pre-internet, it's like posted street teams and all of that. Like, I feel like, even though we are in the digital space, well, okay, now you're gonna need a digital team. You feel me? Like, not
Yeah.
everyone is in the streets, even though I feel like they, well, I mean, now, not really, kind of, because of the COVID, but you know what I mean? But shoot, you could still put up posters, you know what I mean, and drop off flyers or little posters at different restaurants, or liquor stores, or places to be seen, you know what I mean? And it could be as simple as just have all your, and this is why I feel like it's important to be on the different platforms, because now, if you do the old school flyers and all that, just make sure that whatever social network you're on, right? Because I remember because how I used to, like, when I first was getting into it and trying to meet different artists and everything, I would look at their social media before I would reach out to them. You know what I'm saying? So I would have an understanding to be like, okay, let's see how active they are on Instagram, how active are they on Facebook, how, you know what I mean, and just and kind of gauge it there, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
then if they're not popping in certain spots, or they're not in certain like if they're not on Twitter, or if they're not on Instagram or on Pinterest, then I'll go, like, because I'm on, I try to stay as active as I can on all of them, so that people can see it, or if they send a message, I can be close to be like, oh, right on for checking it out. Woo, 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 woo. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And and that's where, that's where the digital team is. That's why you need, like, somebody that, because everyone likes to do it by themselves. Everyone wants to get a Hootsuite and schedule shit. But man, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
hard because you said it yourself. There's so much stuff out there, which you shouldn't have to worry about it, because it's always been like that. There's always people like music, for example, or let's just say even product. You know what I'm saying? So one of my clients, they're it's a furniture company, and they sell furniture, and I had no idea that how does that fall into the social media world. But when everything, like, like Amazon, all these different platforms, like even stores, like footlocker.com, everything's a .com, all these retail stores, they had to jump into the social media space, because not too many people are going to stores anymore. So I remember I knew someone that they were working for, like, Macy's.com social media team. And I was like, wow, you guys got a social media team? They're like, yeah, I have to go, like, on the Facebook page, or I got to go on the thing, and I got to put up when we have sales or whatever, you know what I'm saying? but
Hmm.
it's just focused on that. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. So when because I had met the furniture company right at a time when a lot of the people in their industry was like damn, we got to switch into the social media space. So I kind of like fell right into, like, it was like kind of good timing, you know what I'm saying? Like another company, like a restaurant, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I do this like a vegan Mexican food out there in Berkeley, Flacos. So they were figuring out what this social media stuff was, and I was like, man, I got you. We're gonna set up the Facebook page, we're gonna set up the Twitter page, and then Instagram wasn't even around at that time. It was just like Facebook and Twitter. And I set it up and promoted what was that, what kind of food they sell and all of that, and just mixed it up with other, like, because it was like a lot of like vegan stuff. So I would throw out like hella like information about, like, the internet and social media. It's all about information. So you want to always feed, to me personally, I feel like you always want to feed, like, the midst of everything that's on the internet. What I try to bring to it is like information. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me, like, besides all the world star stuff and all the music stuff, of course, I don't fall too far from the music because it's kind of what got my name out there or whatever. But it's basically like I had to research the different industries, and just you have to see like how it's moving. You know what I'm saying? And then you just go in there, and then depending on how your market, how good your marketing material is going to determine who's going to get attracted to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have like some hood stuff and just attract hella like hood stuff, but if you're throwing in like some professionalism to the mix, and then your people are seeing that, because it's all perception anyways, right? It's like TV. Like, people, when you see them on the news, they're doing their job. They're there to give you the information. A singer, right? You guys do your shows, meet and greets, and boom, you're back to life. It's your job. So now with social media, everything is more enhanced now. So now it's like, okay, you could be, just hella like, faking it to make it, but how, like, how professional are you gonna get? You know what I mean? And that's why certain things are move the way they do. There might be a big budget behind it. We can't just be ring light or whatever. We need like a ring light. We need like everything, like good cameras and woo woo. So it just depends on the different level. I feel like it's just depend on what type of level. Not to say that you have to do it, because there are a lot of people that just keep it straight. You know what I mean? Straight, like, without all of that extra stuff, and are really successful. You know what I'm saying? So one thing that you'll hear, that when people talk about social media, is it's a lot of trial and error. Just like in a lot of things is trial and error. More more my what's like a saying, like, you're not going to be successful if you don't make mistakes, right? You got to make the mistakes so that you can, you get a chance to level, you'll appreciate your level ups.
Yeah.
You know what
For
I'm
sure.
saying?
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like it took me this far. So, and then, it just, like I said, what I tell everyone, it's like creative people like yourself, you know what I mean? Like the Geraldine, all these like entrepreneurs that is on the ground, just, you know what I mean, doing what they can do, you know what I mean? But at a professional level, it's like, yo, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? It builds a community. And and then when you have a good strong community, like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, money doesn't, it's like, money doesn't matter, but it does matter, you know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of like the microphone you got. Like, I know that shit ain't like no $20, $50 micro, you know what I mean? Like, all these electronic stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not free.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're able to, like, present something and give something back, and, you know what I mean? Like, create some type of opportunity for somebody. Like, I think like social media, like, has that part, you know what I mean? Like, I know there's like a lot of negative side to it, but then I'm kind of like, well, it's negative outside social media. So I kind of feel like as long as you just continue to, you just you focus like your energy to give back and show people what, what I mean, like, hey, it's cool, what I'm saying, like, it's okay to share something, you know what I mean, like, unless otherwise. But for the most part, social media to me is like it's building community and watching, what I mean, watching, like, helping these businesses grow, especially during these times, you know
Yeah,
what
for
I mean.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's freaky that you said earlier that it's always been like that. Like a lot of people say the music is bad now, but if you go to a record store and grab 10 vinyls, 9 of them are going to be very very bad probably, and then you're probably lucky to get
Right.
one good one or one decent one.
Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Right, exactly, exactly. Like, I mean, but my whole thing too, what I think is cool is like, because in these days, like, what I mean, like, well, there's always gonna be stuff that's just like, ooh, like, how did they even record this? You know what I'm saying? Like, you must have somebody must have owed you a favor or something, like, but you know what I mean. But I don't know. I just think just music in general is dope because for the most part, when you put, like, from my understanding is like, if you put some music out, like, if your paperwork is right, like, if your ASCAP and all your paperwork is correct, shit, some people, you never know, you might have a fan on the other side of the world where people might not really fuck with your music, but the fact that someone must have found the shit either on SoundCloud or a tweet or a whatever, dude, you might be popping somewhere that you don't even know. But the fact that if you're like, if your paperwork is right, you'll be able to see that. Like, hey, I'm getting spent somewhere. Like this streaming shit. Like what I'm saying, like when I first seen like that Melanie Fiona before, and I was like, wow, who is this girl? Like her song is hella good and it's getting like 1,000 likes, fucking, or 1,000 views, 5,000 views. And then when I seen it hit like some crazy number, like 20 or 50,000 views, I was like, okay, she's finna blow up. And then lo and behold, like 6 months later, whatever, she's like everywhere.
Yeah, she had that 4 a.m. song, huh? It was like
Hmm.
4 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what it was before that though? It was like some little vlog. She used to do a lot of covers. You know what I mean? She did like some like Lauren Hill covers, I think. And I think those what like open, like, people got interested. So like, so that I feel like those are like a thing too, when you do covers, and then all of a sudden, like, oh dang, you do actual music on the thing too. And then that's what I'm saying, like, you know what I mean, like, you throw little stuff out there, like, the less is more again, right? Like, you give them, you throw a couple covers out there, and if you see those popping, then you tease, then that's when you start, like, I feel like you just start teasing them, and that's when you start getting like your strategy, right? Then now you start doing little photo shoots, and like like you're telling your story, right? That's what, like Meet Geraldine and Olive Street, they Rita, like they love to tell stories of people. Like that's the whole thing about social media. That's why the story thing is popping, because people that well, it's one thing to like post your stories, and it's another thing, because I remember I was doing I did a I did a podcast with the Bishop Chronicles, with the homie Adiza, and he asked me a question like, well, how do you know when too much is too much, right? So I was like, well, I mean, if you just constantly flooding shit, like now you kind of just overdoing. Like I know I post a lot and everything, but I've learned through my, through these through these years doing it, like you kind of want to have some type of structure to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you like to post a lot, what I mean, I would never tell someone you're posting a lot. I would say something like, okay, you have a lot of good posts, stretch it out. Don't put it all in one day, 100 posts. And you know what I mean? When you have 100 good posts, there's no way hell of people's gonna consume that. Especially if you do got people starting to look at you, keep it in the cut and just, you know what I mean, and write it out. You know what I'm saying? And keep your, like I would always say, like what I tell people, it don't matter what platform you're on. You want to keep it, you want to give them just enough where again, less is more. You want to like what a rule of thumb for me. I feel like a good 10 posts and of a good mixture is great because first off, you might not even get someone to see all 10 posts, but 10 is kind of like top 10. I mean, like, oh, this is my top 10 picks, right?
Hmm.
Sports Center does it. A lot of people do. One of the DJs I work with, I had suggested to him because he does a 2 hour show, um a 2 hour like his like radio show or whatever, where he's like playing music for 2 hours. And I was like, well, why don't what if you, like, how like on some radio shows they'll have like segments like gossip, or like, oh, it's the gossip hour, or it's the whatever.
Hmm.
I was like, well, damn, you're in the mix for 2 hours. Why not dedicate like 30 minutes of that for a top 10, so you can get a little bit more personal, and now you can feature certain artists as you want to, or up and coming artists in this top 10. And we had started that on Twitter, where I would add his top 10 picks for the week. And what he would do is he'll take those top 10 and he'll add it on like a Spotify playlist. So he'll have the name of the radio show. It's just like how people, how how a lot of singers now, you want to get on playlists, right? You want to get on um whatever, Charlemagne's playlist, or what I mean, a DJ or or media personalities playlist, right? Like, so it'll be on a Vibe, or it'll be a Spotify playlist, or a Tidal playlist.
Yeah.
So so all of these platforms, you have your own, all these platforms, everyone has is their own entity, right? So now, if you're like a DJ or whatever, and you have your top list, now you exposing these new artists to your network in a structured form, which I think is, it's not new, what I mean, because everyone's done it, but now it's just, now you're adding more flavor. Now you're giving all these unknown names a name now. Like, you might be, and you don't even have to, you could just be like a local DJ or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. I seen this. It was like one of those James Brown movies, and he was trying to figure out. Right, he was trying to figure out, like, man, I don't want to pay all these like major radio stations to promote my show. We're gonna go to the local radio shows, and we're gonna give it to them, because now we're giving them the content to. So now they have something to share with their audience, who they're going with. And I was like, wow, that's fucking dope. That's just, what I mean. That's like the groundwork way before. Obviously there was no social media back then,
Yeah.
so you know what I'm saying. So to hear the type of stuff that, what I mean, it's not, it's different, but it's kind of still the same, because there's always a structure for it. And I kind of took that, just like podcasting. Like, I would ask a lot of like radio DJs that's been doing radio for like 15, 20 years. And I would ask them, I said, hey, when you do your radio show, it's kind of like a podcast, right? Because you're talking to an air. You're not, you know what I mean? You're just in the microphone and you talking, and then you might have a guest or whatever, and boom, you know what I mean? You got your breakfast club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why, I mean, podcasting, I think it's dope. I mean, like a couple years ago, they said that podcasting is like a $25 billion industry, and I was kind of like, wow, how is that? But now when I'm thinking about it, and the different podcasts that are out there, the different subjects that are out there,
Hmm.
like, from whether it's music, it's like this. What's the thing that's popping right now? Clubhouse. So they said basically Clubhouse is something like where it's like a meeting where you can basically sit in on a meeting in whatever industry you're interested in, whether it's the cryptocurrency, whether it's music, whether it's real estate. You can sit into these meetings where you're just listening to people and soaking up game. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, it's kind of like a podcast, because now I think they have moderators now. Like, you could be a moderator. It's just like Twitch and all of that. You know what I mean? Like like it's like Ustream. You remember Ustream?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how Ustream, they used to have people like go on there, DJ or perform or whatever. Then you have the chat room, and then you have moderators that they're watching the chat room in case they're, like, either spamming it, or just being, reckless on there or whatever. Then you have the moderator, they can ban all that shit, and so that a broadcaster can do their thing. Like, that shit is like, it's like that. But now, because now, with all these different developers now, like Twitch, I like using Twitch as an excellent platform because I know it's not new because it's been around for gamers or whatever, but I know I feel like ever since like the pandemic and then D Nice, he broke Instagram by, like DJing on Instagram, and then more DJs took notice, but then now they jumped onto Twitch because Twitch, they're not going to shut them down because they're already licensed because of whatever the case is,
Hmm.
and and everyone's chat room is so lit because the way that it's developed where okay you could be on your phone because everyone's on their phone anyways, or you could be on the desktop, whatever whatever floats your boat. um you could be on there and interacting where, and it's more like user friendly, like, oh, I really support this DJ. Well, hey, if you really support this DJ, like YouTube, like you can subscribe to my page, or Patreon, everything. It's 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 like it's kind of like it's a playing field for everybody, right? It's everyone's chance to be creative and find their lane in it. And I love it because prior to all of this, me and whoever else that does social media, like that sits on in front of the computer and post all day, now you can, because a lot of those cats, a lot of them that like to be in front of the camera, now you can actually have your own YouTube show. Or a lot of people that used to be in radio that switching over to the digital space, now it's called podcasting. So now if you have all of these different ideas, dude, you could run your own radio show. And you know what I mean, depending on how much you networked and how many relationships you built,
Hmm.
dude, you could be like an Oprah type shit. You could
Yeah.
build your stuff and people will go to you and they'll want, like, man, I feel like it's real exciting because it's just so much you can do now, and there's so much people that are creative. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it boils down to your networking skills, your relationship building skills, and what you have to bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone is kind of like the same, but not. You know what I mean? Because some might people's levels of professional is different than others. So another reason why it's good to have like a social media team, because what I mean, like, like it's like if you're the CEO of the company, you definitely, it's impossible for you to like meet everybody, even though you probably can. But that's why people have managers. That's why um, you don't want to be too accessible to everybody, because now when you feel, now what I mean, you want to always keep that like a respect factor. And then depending on how some shit, some situations it can go all bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
some situation them just everyone benefits, and it's just like it's a beautiful thing. Like I've been in different like GoFundMe campaigns where um they actually made the goal. You know what I mean? But it wasn't easy. You know what I mean? It was a lot of hard calls. It was a lot of being on these posting. It's a sending emails. You know what I mean? But it's possible. And then there's another side where you can do all of that, and you might only raise like $100. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's all like I said earlier, it's like trial and error.
For
Like a
sure.
lot of trial
Would
and
you
error.
would you apply that to like music releases too? So if cause I ain't gonna lie, I got like 10 joints right now.
Yeah. Well,
Instead of like
no,
putting them all out, spreading them out.
I would definitely spread it out and like talk like I would definitely talk with your team to see like, okay, which one we like, you know what I mean? What type of like marketing material are we gonna stem from this song? Are we gonna do a video? Are we gonna cater it to like are we going to try to get it out to like a social media personality? You know what I mean? Like that's why I kind of feel like with music, I feel like everyone at least needs a good solid team. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to let people know about, hey, which song you like, versus like, dude, like I said, like how I was talking about that LMA thing. Like she popped, like I caught three of her Instagram. One of them was for her doing a little freestyle session. A second one was opening up her IG live, and then the third one I caught her, she was playing some music she was working on. You know what I mean? Now you could, it's kind of like a what's that thing where what's that thing called where people like it's like when you got a product and then you get like random people like, hey, I'm gonna give you like $25 or $75 gift card, and then you're gonna check out this product and we need your honest opinion type shit.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like those are good. It's like that, like it's like a test, like a customer testing. Like you can use that. The internet's for that. You can just be like, okay, I'm about to play music on this day. If you're here, you're here. If not, you're not. Or you know what I mean. And let's get like a listening party. Like, hey, what you guys like? I'm gonna play you. You might have 10 songs, but just give them five. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
you know what I mean. And then you just get feedback, and then you be like, and then you go back to your team, or if your team is all on the live feed or whatever, or the Zoom thing. Like you can have like for an example, like with Vivian, she had when her album dropped, she did like a listening party, and what she did was their team invited hella like bloggers, or you invite people, and then you go on one of these Zoom meetings, and then you just everyone's in there, and she was just playing stuff, and it was dope because everyone was like just vibing, and people, and then afterwards, like some listening parties I've been to, they'll be like they'll give you a paper, and then you write what numbers, like you rate it, right?
Hmm.
But now when you're doing the live sessions like this, you could just be like, okay, we're gonna play this song, we're gonna listen to the full album, and then we're gonna, then we're gonna play each song, and we'll see what you guys like of each one, if you guys feeling it, or what you rank it, and then and then that way you could determine what you want to throw out first, or you know what I'm saying, and bam, and then all those people, like what I mean, like to do a little step further, all the people that initially was like helping you pick out stuff, you could be like, man, um, right on for the help. I want to, what I mean, like stay in touch, and then we can feed off each other, and then bounce back, because most of the time, a lot of these people that you be running into online, they're either a promoter, or they might have a business, they might have some type of thing where it's like, okay, wow, maybe if you like the song that much, let me send this the song, because you might want to use that song to promote one of your products, and you can play my song in the background, or you know what I mean, you can get all types of creative with it, and then bam, you got one street team out of, you was just trying, you might have like 2 or 3 of your like people that's looking over your music, and now you start building your digital team. You know what I'm saying? And then now you can even branch out more, because now that person, they might be on some social sites that you're not on, and they could start like what I do with you, like for example, like with some of your stuff. Because I know you're not on Twitter, but I'm hashtagging your Instagram name and letting them know, like, yo, if you are really interested in like what's going on, all you got to do is go to his Instagram page and go from there. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Yeah, Twitter. You can give the exact link in there, right?
Yeah, and then on Twitter, you can, exactly, Twitter, you can put links in there where people can go directly like to your page. And then now how it's set up, where like now it generates something like, if like you're on Bandcamp, right? And then you put your Bandcamp link on Twitter, it actually shows a photo of whatever the image is on your Bandcamp. So when people are looking at that tweet, they'll see like your post, and it'll have your Bandcamp picture there and all that shit. And then you can sometimes even just play it so they can listen. They don't even gotta go. Like the link will open it up so that you can play it on your page. And I just seen today, I think they released it yesterday. They said something, because you know how Twitter has their live thing is Periscope. Periscope is like their live. So they said Periscope is going to be discontinuing in March of 2021. So they're just going to switch it to Twitter Live. So I think that's going to be hot, because all of these people that's active on Twitter, it's going to be, it's going to be a big mess. You know what I mean? Everyone's going to go on live or whatever, but it's still, you know what I mean? It still opens up to your network on there. You know what I mean? If you got, if there's a lot of like, like Vibe Magazine, Essence Magazine, Dizzler, like all of these media companies are, trust me, they're all active on their Twitters, and they got to be on. If you're a media, if you're a media, like it's crazy to me, because there's like all these different like, oh, we do online radio, we do this, and which is dope, because there's hella online radio stations out there. I get it, but if you're only visible like on Facebook, What if I don't even mess with Facebook? So how am I gonna go to your radio page? Oh, okay, let me go to the website. Most of the time, a lot of people's website, if they're doing music, you really got to check out like the website. Is are they getting paid? Is it, you know what I mean? Because when you have music that's out there and a radio station is playing for it, if they're not a legit radio station and they're playing your music, you're not even getting credit for your music. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're getting credit because people's hearing it, but in this day and age, like streaming, everything is getting counted with the streams. So you just want to make sure whatever radio station or whoever posting their music on your stuff, you like nowadays, you really got to make sure that whoever's, whether it's just a regular whoever to an executive doing the shit, you want to make sure when they're streaming your stuff, you're getting credit for it, because every little penny or whatever the breakdown is makes a difference, because that little stream might turn into a CD sale, or it might turn into like a merch sale, or it could turn into a possible show. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like you gotta, like, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of music out there, like, okay, well, some people that they just their streams are off the hook, and then it's kind of like, well, damn, are they doing show, you know what I mean? Like you just got to make sure that whatever your intention is that you're getting full credit of it, because you don't want to, now, you know what I mean? Like I remember before, because no one was really tripping, but everyone was like, oh, download my shit. But I used to always be like, nah, because downloading, you take up hella space. People, it gets their phone hella slow. Like that's why I feel like streaming has always been thing, and especially the fact that now you could stream movies, and
Yeah.
now people are getting their music in movies now. So now I believe, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but when your music is getting played on these movies or video games or whatever, nowadays people are getting credit for that. Whereas before, like I heard interviews with like Redman and like a lot of like the older music artists that put their music on these video games. Some back in the day, they weren't getting credit for that. You know what I'm saying? But now I feel like, because of the climate of how everything is, I feel like, damn, there might be some artists out there that you never heard of, but they might be popping in like, I don't know, the GTA, the Grand Theft Auto stuff, and they might have like, there's hella people on video games and Twitch. They might find your music while someone's playing Twitch, and then someone's watching your shit, and they're like, "Hey, what's that in the background? Oh, that's, let me look it up." And they just look it up. They look it up in their game. Oh, that's so and so, so and so. Now you got a fan, and you don't even know you got a fan, but your placement was there. You know what I'm saying? And that involves, like, I mean, getting placements on songs and all that. That's when you got to be linked up to an agency, or you have to have some type of connection that will navigate you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I feel like, management is important, or having the people that's on your team that's, playing specific roles, like, what I mean, placing you, what I mean, so that you don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? Because you already, as an artist, I feel like as an artist, they already have what they got to think of. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I would rather learn how to better make music or learn a new skill or
yeah,
something.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Because you don't, well, and that's why I'm saying, like, that's why it's good to have like a social media person is good to have, because depending on like the level of their social media skills, or how much they're on there, or how much of a traction that they have on there, any traction is better than no traction, right? So anyone that does social media, okay, they might just be new to the game or whatever, or they might be old in the game and don't have the social media numbers like that, but they know what it takes to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? So like that's just like one component. I feel like, what I mean, like I said, like with these with like the furniture stuff, like on top of me keeping the social networks active, they have to do their part with the photography, with the video, with the placement. You know what I mean? Let's product placement. That's like the basic stuff, right? Getting your product placed in like a Target, or in a retail store, like a Amazon. You know what I'm saying? Like like that's a job that those are jobs that people have. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's never the job. Like I said, like as a creator or the artist that's putting out the stuff, you know what I mean, it's not their job to do that because they're blessing the world with their gift. So it's like, damn, now you want me to promote it too? It's like I'm already promoting it every time I'm doing an interview and when I'm doing a concert. Like that's my promotion.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So
Speaking of the older, like what you were saying about the older guys, are there like evergreen principles, like stuff that's going to work no matter, or just like a formula that's going to work no matter what the technology is or
yeah,
anything in the world?
relationships.
Okay.
Relationships. Yeah, because that's one thing that I feel like that what kept me around for so long because um not all relationships last, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of life, you know what I mean? Like you like if you peep and you do the history of with a lot of like music groups that that end up like let's say like Wu-Tang Clan. Like when they came out, you know, it was popping, but it was like nine of them. So it's like nine personalities, you know, everyone has their own attention. So it's kind of like the fact that each one of them were talented in their own right is what kind of made it like it, you know, for them not really to kind of like go and do their separate things. Like like they have relationships built. You know what I'm saying? So but when they come together as one, it's like, whoa, it's just like amazing. You know what I'm saying? But that's why it is a level of like professionalism and how you're conducting yourself because now like if you've been in the music game like actively and you know you had music on the radio or you've done shows or you know what I mean like you really like like what was interesting and and which kind of made sense to me. I was at Complex Con last year and I was in a I listened to Jeezy did a podcast and it was like his first podcast or whatever, and it was with Master P. And Master P said something whereas he said something to an effect where if you don't have a hit record, you're really not in the music industry. And I was
I
like, damn,
remember
that's
that
kind of
one. Yeah.
fucked up. Yeah, right. And it's kind of like, well, damn, that's kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, he kind of does got a point there because, like, there's a lot of people that got their music played on the radio. You know what I'm saying? But there's some people that get their music played on the radio, and it's kind of like, oh, it's popping in every state. You know what I mean? Like, you might be popping in every state, but you know what I mean? Like there's like some people kind of out, not really, they not really outshine another, but you can notice somebody a little bit more than the next. Not to say that they're more talented than the other. It just kind of means that okay, they might just be a little bit more popular because depending on like um you know how the promotion is and how much everyone is feeling their vibration is like well it's natural for me to like that because like a Beyonce for example, right? Like you know people always talk about her, but there's way more that outweighs that her music has touched more people than you know what I mean. So her ratio is they're gonna have the Beyonce like naysayers, but her ratio is way too high where it's not gonna affect it. And
Mhm.
it's probably because you know what I mean, I feel like it's on the relationships. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to like everybody or you don't have the best relationships with everybody, but if you carry yourself to you know what I mean the level of your professionalism, people are gonna have to respect it. You know, say that's why it's what's dope with like this. You know, like we were saying, like this versus battle with the Too Short and E40. Even though that there is a lot of younger cats that are popping and all that, it's good to see that hey, these cats have been doing it for over 20 years, and they're still relevant. You know what I mean? Whether
Mhm.
you know whether and not for nothing it's like they didn't well too sure you know he would get radio plays and all that but before all of that like even like with E40 it's like for them for people to get stuff on the radio it is like some type of like payment you know what I mean whether it's getting paid through the label or whatever you know what I mean there's some type of relation that got them on there you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying and not to my whole thing is that, okay, granted, okay, if you don't have a hit record, it has to be, you have to have some type of hit record where it kind of goes a little viral, because you need that, you need some type of traction, so that now the fans that you do get, now it's kind of like, well, what can I do to keep it fresh and keep it funky, so that they keep on coming? You know what I mean? That's why when I do like a lot of my posts, I always try to keep it like, I try to keep it new. Like I'll keep it like as relevant to the artists who I work with directly, or if I have a relation with like a company or whatever, I
Mm-hmm.
keep that because we really know each other. You know what I mean? Like in case if their social media was popping and they see like, oh, okay, Dr. Postalot is supporting it. Well, man, we need to let people know, like, Dr. Postalot, he's, what I mean, like, you build these relationships with each other. A lot of the clients that I did that I got was through word of mouth, was through people seeing, oh, you're posting for MC Light. Well, how can I be down? What do I got to do? And then, and everyone has their own, like, it's like case by case study. Everyone has their own way of networking with everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But my whole thing was like, I told myself in the beginning of all this, like I want to make sure that I maintain certain relationships, whether if they go bad or whether they'll go good. I just gotta I want to like maintain like this good flow, because I didn't know, dude. Like, honestly, I didn't think it was gonna last this long. I didn't think I was gonna be posting this long. When I first got into it, I thought it was gonna die out within the first like 5 years. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be around. But learning on how stuff works, on the process of when a song comes out, when you're promoting a song, and how many months it takes for that just to get some wheels on it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, damn, no wonder why the years go by fast, because you, like I said, you got one song that it's, it's a good song, but now you gotta be on there building relationships with people. You gotta see if people like the song. You gotta remind people about the song. We got a video now. Oh, we gotta get people on the video. Oh, you know what I mean? Whatever it takes to just to keep, what I mean, keep them used the YouTube streams going.
Yeah.
You gotta, it's an everyday task, and then you don't know it, but like 3 6 months later, and then another three, and then another six. Yeah, I mean, whatever, you break it down to 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, that's a whole year. And and like you said, it's hard because there's so many people on the internet. If you can capture a good if you can capture a good 100 to 500 people within the first day or two, you're doing something good, right? If you're not, and you just catching like 10 likes, 10 views, 20, well, that just means that you have to restructure and you got to strategize. Well, what am I going to do to get at least another five? Another thing, right? Because the dope part about it is, because everyone likes to see numbers, you can keep it organic and grow it yourself. And then once you get up to like 1,000 views, you can do some type of strategy to be like, yo, I got 1,000 followers, 1,000 views. This is exciting. And you could think of something like, well, damn, I'm gonna give you a T-shirt, or I'm gonna, you know what I mean. You could think of something to like show the gratitude, whether it's somebody that knows you, or whatever the case is. Like, yo, I'm just excited because I got 500 views, like
Mm-hmm.
I got 200 views. You know what I mean? Because you always got to look at yourself like, hey, nobody knows me. You know what I mean? But once you get like them 10 views, five of them, they might not like it. The other five, or whatever the ratio is, it's out there. Now, if you see that it's not doing as good as you want, shit, trash it. Just leave it there. It's not going nowhere. Okay, let's work on some other stuff, or let's do some other stuff that we could focus around the song where it's still gonna be in people's ears. You know what I mean? It's just like a whole bunch of different strategies, man. It's like, I love it because it's so awesome, because like now, because before when I was doing it, it was only like a handful of us. Like, okay, we will, like, when I used to help Rita back in the day, when she was a DJ, she had like about like 4 or 5 people. No, like, she had like a little team. She had a street team, she had management, and she had me, the social media person. And it was all the different collectives. Like, you know what I mean? She had the street team doing her thing. She had like, she had however else we were strategizing things. It was dope because now you're in a team setting and everyone's on the same page and you're watching this product go. And the shit is dope. Shit is fun, man. Like I sat in a few like projects with different artists promoting videos, promoting songs, promoting albums. And one thing that I noticed is like the stronger the team is, the more successful the project comes out.
Okay. So
Dang, I hope I'm not
what's
rambling. I just be rambling. You get me
what's
on these like.
and that's all good. It's a lot of cool info. What's like the like an artist starting a team without having a budget right away or something? Do you
Well,
just
that
sort of
well,
passion?
the, well, yeah, and then that's kind of where the networking comes in. Like that's when you gotta like you gotta do a little engaging, and you know what I mean. Like, hey, what you think about this? It falls back into networking. You know what I mean? Like if you're like an artist that don't have no team, right? What you probably want to do is like do some researching, like, okay, who who's behind these music blogs, or who's somebody that likes my music, right? There might be somebody that might like my music, and then you might you can have like a like a little meeting with that person, like, hey, I noticed you really like my stuff, and what do you do? Like, is it are you trying to like get some experience behind the scenes? Like, I was talking to one of my friends today, and she was telling me that one of her friends is back in school, and she's doing um, taking music management classes. And I was like, yo, that's the one. Like, you want to, like, if you're an artist, you might want to research the different music schools that are out there. Like, we remember when I was with you, and then we were talking about like the Berkeley School, the Full Scale, like all these different schools, right?
Hmm.
You probably want to find out like who are the music people, and because they all want to get their foot in the door. So now it's kind of like, okay, hey, this might be like some good practice for you. You can use me as, and especially if they like your music, and they have some type of formal training. Like, you can do without the formal training, but like what I would suggest is, it's like, how like you look for a barber or whatever, you might go to the barber school because they learning their shit, and you ain't really got the funds to pay for like a regular haircut, so you just got to go to where, what I mean, it's either free or it's like a couple bucks. Yeah, that's the best place to is to find people. And especially now, like, you can, what I mean, they have directories, they got all types of shit where you can build your team. Like, what I mean, like, I wouldn't so much go for like these like fly by like $25, $30, so you like, nah, like, you can try it if you want, just to like see where your what the money does. But like, if you trying to like really save some money and all that, the best thing to do is network. Or like, if they have like the best things, like, with a lot of these Zoom things, they might have like these like panel discussions. Those are the best place. I love, I used to talk on a few panels. I was like lucky enough to get invited to speak at a few panels, and yo, I felt like those were the best places to meet up with people, because you're around, first off, you're around people that's like-minded. So that's where you can meet certain people, and then that's where your networking is. Especially if you're like new to like meeting people, what I mean, because others, like I said, like you build these relationships, whether you're going to these panel discussions, or you're on these like social networks where, like I said, you're researching like the Vibe magazine or whatever. Then you're like, okay, well, let me go to the Vibe site, and oh, okay, they got these different contributors. What I mean? Like, my early days of Twitter, what I used to do was I used to follow a lot of these editors for like a Vibe or R&B or BET, like, because a good social media platform is going to have their social media person on their side. If they're on top of it, they're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be networking because they're always looking for content to add to their whoever they work with. Okay, Player, is it their own website? Is it, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And of course, a lot of them be like, well, give me $200, I'm going to post your site. You think, okay, well, that's cool, right? But then now you might meet a publicist, right? You might meet some publicists that have like a deal, like, well, you give me like $100 or whatever, and I got relationships with XYZ, and I'm going to make sure your stuff gets on there. So it's going to be like, okay, I got a little budget. I'm going to mess with you. You're the online publicist. You're going to get my stuff on these networks and get my stuff out there. And then that's cool, right? So you pay your whatever they charge, $50, $100, whatever they charge. Now, now what you need to do as an artist or your social media person, as they find out, as this publicist is getting you on these websites, now your social media person needs to bring all that information and be like, go back to your actual social networks and be like, hey, I just got a write up from the Vibe, check me out. Or hey, I just did NPR, check out my NPR. Because you see what I'm saying? Like, so now they're doing their part, using their platform to feature you. But now, are you using your platform to feature them? Because you're on there, so you should. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like it sucks to say it, but it's really repetitive. Because repetitive, that sucks, because that's just like, oh my god, same shit. But you know what I mean? A good team is, well, you'll have, how the people used to collect emails and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually still relevant, because people still do collect email. They're just more like, well, oh, you gotta get one of my email. I'm not just gonna give you my email. Well, fine. You know what I mean? That's why when you're asking for something, I feel like you always have to give something back. Like when you do these GoFundMe or these Patreon pages, you know what I mean? Why? Like, if Netflix could charge, because they're raising their price again. If Netflix could charge like $13.99 a month, and you get access to all of these movies that you're definitely not going to watch, why is it people are still paying this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because they're getting something out of it, because they're fine. There's definitely something on there that keeps their attention. Now, if you're looking at that on an artist's point of view, or just a brand's point of view, well, why am I asking you to donate? Like, I'm asking you for money, but now if you're donating like to my album, or you're donating to my, like, I'm trying to make a video and you're trying to donate to it, what can I do to like match your $5,000 donation, your $100 donation? What can I do? And there's actually a template for all of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, like a good music manager, someone that goes to school for it, and from my experience, from people that went to school for it, dude, they'll have like a good one. They'll be like, they'll have a great plan. Like, this is the game plan. Now, on depending on, like, you can have the ultimate game plan, but if you don't have the ultimate um execution, then it's not really gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might have the dope plan, but if you're not putting in that work and putting that extra thing, then it's not gonna, it's just gonna be a good plan. So you have to execute as good, or if not better, than the actual plan. That's why they said, like, with how like they used to have that making a band thing with the
Yeah,
Puff
P
Daddy
Diddy.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the P Diddy, like, you know what I mean? Like, when it's like, like they make you do like hella intern type shit. But I kind of feel like that's just something like to see how committed you are, because it's like, it's almost like a hazing thing. Like, okay, how bad do you really want it type shit? Because,
Yeah.
like, because I remember like P Diddy, when, because I used to watch a lot of his tweets, because when I got on Twitter, like it was fresh, right? So, dude, Diddy and a lot of these guys, dude, they would tweet like crazy. They'd be on there in the morning, boom, boom, hella like inspirational shit, and like literally legit, like these cats don't sleep, and I'm just like, and I was like that, like somewhere along the years, I was like, I need to go to sleep, because I don't need it, because I used to be up like how, like, when you're in the studio, you're up all night, because you're creating. It takes all
Mm-hmm.
night. Me, as a social media person, I would be on the social networks damn near all night, because there's always activity. There's always somebody talking. So I'm always like this is happening, this is happening, this is out, this is out. And I got to read a lot of what other people was going on. I'm like, dude, everyone is working, they don't sleep, legit, like cats is on it. But
Yeah,
somewhere along the line I'm kind of like, okay, well, it's one of those things like work smarter than harder, you know what I mean? I've learned that through the years, where less is more. You know what I'm saying? It
hmm,
always, like, even though, like I said, like I post a lot, but it's like I've learned how to, like, just like, oh, just if you don't see that, then I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? You're just not looking, because everything is right in your face. Like if I'm throwing a trillionaire song out there, it's like, come on, if you overlook this, then you're just either gonna have to see it again later, or you know what I mean, whenever you ready, the music is here. You know what I mean? The
yeah, for
product is
sure.
here.
Yeah, that's super
So
cool.
yeah,
That's super cool.
so whew.
Yeah, thanks for all of the good info though. That's freaky how an hour just went by that fast. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
super cool. Yeah, that's super cool. Well, yeah, that was your
Yeah, I'm just
Trillionaire.
excited that you have something like. I'm glad that I can add to your what you call, like, you've been
Oh
doing
yeah,
it, so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
dope, dude.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, I got yeah, I got a bunch of. It's freezing. I ain't gonna lie. It's been colder than.
Regular.
Yeah, it's been pretty
Uh,
cold. Yeah, but yeah,
no.
yeah, on the verge of getting this stuff rolling. I'm just trying to just separate, figure out ways to separate myself from the noise and the crowd, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the best, man. Like, you don't want to be too, and I get it. Like, it's not good to be too much immersive, because it's a lot of noise. So you have to know how to, like, you want to protect your space. You know what I'm saying? And then the fact that, like, you build up all this content, and all you gotta do, you throw it on the internet. You know what I mean? And then if you're satisfied with the content, you throw it on your YouTube page. You know what I mean? And then you can always go back to it and promote it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's when content is king. When you have content that this is what you want to share to the world. Now, it ain't gonna go nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot, like, I hope, like my whole thing is, like, when I talk on all of these Zoom meetings or podcasts, or speak on like these different platforms, it's like, well, damn, I don't know who's gonna see this. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you never know. Like, you never know who's gonna see it. So I always feel like these are an excellent, like, podcasts. That's why I feel like podcasts are like the best place, because you might throw some game with somebody, and then you might never know. You might say something that's like, I've heard in the past, where some information that I gave about social media, some people had came back to me like a few years later, was like, yo, I heard you say something about social media, and then I applied it to how I'm running my social media, and man, my shit's popping, and I'm like, damn, for real, your shit's popping. Well, damn, I'm gonna be popping too. You know what I'm saying? But they're like, oh, but they're like, yeah, you said something, and I caught wind to it, and I applied it, and it worked. And I was like, and then when I start to read, like, because I'm into, like, ebooks, you know what I mean, because my reading's a little slow, so when I hear shit, it's like listening to music. If I listen to it so many times, it kind of just sticks to me.
hmm,
And a few of the stuff that I was, like, either reading or ebook or whatever, they would say, like, um they would have, like, situations where they would say a similar story. You know what I mean? Like, nothing's new under the sun, right? Like, what your story is, you don't know. It might really help the next person do something, because like there's probably, like, an artist out there trying to be like, damn, I'm trying to get my music out there. But, oh, he said, if I just build a Twitter page or an Instagram page and start actually networking with people, you know what I mean? You never know. You might meet, like, a manager. You might create a street team from your Instagram page, because that's all it is now. Like, I get inquiries all the time, like, oh yeah, I work with this brand, and we seen your feed, and we want you to be a part of it. if you're interested, let's do this. And man, you like a lot of people get a lot of those, and a lot of them might be not that great, but you never know until you try.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's
Oh
super
yeah.
cool. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for all that good old info.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super cool. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and get your services and all of that good stuff, where they find
Dr.
you?
Postalot, well, actually, drpostalot.com. I mean, like website, drpostalot.com. Um, that's the website. And then Dr. Postalot, that's all the handle. I try to keep it as simple as possible because I'm not really trying to be like on all these social networks with different names. I mean, it's not really my role. I mean, I don't need like, different names. It's trying to make it as simple as possible. Yeah, Dr. Postalot on all the platforms, drpostalot.com. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's super cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be
Heck
tough for
yeah.
me to get the because Trillionaire Hendrix is way too many characters for Twitter. I tried it already.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, I mean, you just get a little creative. I'm sure you'll figure out. Or you could do you'll figure something out
Sugar
that where
Bone.
it's like what you call it. Yeah, yeah. Unless what I mean. Someone might. What's crazy? So I hashtag that, and that shit's out there. Like that's a fucking name.
Yeah.
So that's that's dope as that. But what I like about that though, like okay, so my whole thing is like when you have a hashtags is like a whole other conversation because it's one thing to have a hashtag that somebody has, or even if you're creating your hashtag, right? The wild thing about hashtags is it never goes anywhere. So that's like I don't even know how that even was that even turned the thing. Like I remember one of my friends was telling me that she used to go on Twitter to hashtag things because like, if she wanted to find something, she'll hashtag a certain subject and bam, you'll have hella shit about that. Like, oh fuck. And then so I looked at that, I was like, wow, okay, that's dope. You hashtag something that's like a common word. But now if you create your own hashtag, you could make that hashtag go viral on its own. Because like if you find like a saying and nobody has that hashtag, that technically could be like your hashtag. Because you could be like, because everything is recorded, right? All this data that we post on these internets are recorded. So now if someone try to like question you, you could be like, look, I posted this shit like 5 years ago, 3 years ago. Nobody I've been hashtag this. And that that could help like solidify like, yeah, I've been, I mean, not to say like, oh yeah, I'm the first, but you could just be like, hey, I've been hashtagging it, like, man, right on using it. Because if someone searched that hashtag and you've been doing it, best believe your post will come up, and it don't matter what platform you're on, because I feel like whatever that hashtag thing did to the algorithm is there for life. So
Okay.
that's interesting. So that's what I'm saying. Like when I hashtag your Instagram name on Twitter, even though that might be the only like I might be the only one that hashtag your shit, but that shit now isn't gonna ever go anywhere. So they'll always be able to find you no matter what, because now that's a formidable hashtag. You know what I mean? You can use that hashtag on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and it's free. You know what I mean? That's crazy to me. Like, what I mean? Like, look at like, not to get too political or whatever, but look at like the Black Lives Matter hashtag. You know what I mean? That shit started with the three ladies, and then it took a life on its own where it went beyond the three ladies that started it to other organizations kind of like piggybacked off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was, and it's way out of their control because it's such a it's such a saying now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Who would have known that would have that's like the you know what I mean? That's like the subject of all news platforms. You know what I'm saying? So the
Yeah, for
hashtag is
sure.
pretty powerful. That I like it because now, like I said, like now when I tag your Twitter name, it can't go nowhere. You know what I mean? That shit's for life now. So I think I like that. I think that's dope.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for that support too.
Mm-hmm. For
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Hell
But
yeah.
yeah, that was episode. I don't even know which episode this was, But that was episode whatever of the Trillionaire meeting.
It's one of these exclusive meetings, man. You know what I mean? This ain't going nowhere. You can catch all the gems. Tune
Yeah, for
in.
sure. Yeah, tune in. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Hell yeah, for sure. Right
Yeah, for
on. Thank
sure.
you. Thanks for having me. That's love. Right on. Thank you.
Yeah, all good.